Hello, Crafty Monkeys. Oh, is it time? I believe it is actually time. We are now live. It is 5 o'clock on Friday, which of course means it's Friday live at 5. And I'm Rachel, Chief Crafty Monkey with the monkey look, just up there behind me in the corner. So how are you all doing? How's your week been? Do you know, I've had a fantasy, I don't mind telling you this, for the last 4 months. Hello. I've had a fantasy where I have fantasized about drinking out of a ceramic cup in a cafe. Now, no, not in a cafe, but outside a cafe, and eating from a plate with a knife and fork outside a cafe. And today, my fantasy was finally fulfilled. Took the daughter, we went to a place called Argo, and we had a lovely cooked breakfast, which is very interesting because, of course, that's very similar to the post that I popped up today on the Crafty Monkeys feed. So, yes, had a full English breakfast, and a lovely latte. So finally did it, finally sat outside a cafe. It was so nice, a little bit chilly, but it was good. So I hope that you have managed to get yourselves out there and you know, have some fun since things opened on the 12th. I didn't do any shopping though, not into that. I'm just not, I just don't need to do the shopping. I really don't need to do the shopping. So anyway, apart from that, how are things? How are you? So of course, this is where we have a chat about life, but also some quilty chats as well. Yes, in a second I'm going to be joined by our lovely Judith, hopefully. She's been filming for us today for our new club, which is launching, of course, in June. Very exciting, 1st of June. Now, for anybody who's been asking about that, I have emailed a couple of people, but just in case you're thinking the question that people have been asking, if you are a member of our Take 3 club at the moment, your subscriptions, you can end them in May. You can stop the payment coming out of your bank if you want, but I will automatically be ending everybody's, that's going to be a day and a half, subscriptions in May. And the reason that I'm doing that is because the next subscription that starts in June is a little bit more, because it's downloadable content we're giving you this time, and actually we're giving you more content as well, and there's a few other things in there. So it goes up, so I can't change the direct debit, so you'll have to rejoin the club and go in and just do, but it will be exactly the same as before. So that's what will happen on the 1st of June. We will be doing an offer for our new club, and that will be 2 months free if you buy the annual membership, and that will be on the 1st of June for the whole month, and then after that the annual membership offer will go, and you'll be able to just sign up on a monthly basis. The new club will be lots of amazing video content on our website in the members area, and it's going to be 1 tutor a month, really enhanced learning, 2 hours of at least fantastic content, and a webinar, and any PDFs and patterns and things that go with that footage, really taking your skills to the next level, but also every month a different type of skill. So all sorts of different things from different tutors, not just like, you know, a block that you're learning to sew, etc., but different techniques, different kinds of arts and crafts and things like that. So it's going to be a fantastic club, and that will be launching on the 1st of June. Anyway, that's that. Quite a few people are asking about that. So I'm going to now bring on our lovely Judith. Yes, I will view the request, and yes, go live. For once, that was quite easy. No pressing the buttons and hoping for the best. Let me just turn the volume up as well, make sure that you can all hear on Facebook. How are you, Facebook? How are you, Instagram? I hope that you're really well. Is she coming? I did say yes, didn't I? I'm sure I said yeah. Let's see who's here so far. Let's have a look at who is joining us on Facebook today. We have got Ruthie Baby. Hello, Ruthie darling. Christine, Elaine, Pat. Hi, Bryony. How are you? Ruth, Elaine, sorry, Susan, Leslie is watching, and Alan Reno is saying, how is everybody doing tonight? How are you doing, Alan? Bryony says, already, she's going to go already and collect the kids. Have a lovely weekend. Didn't see very much of that one, Bryony, did you? And Anne-Marie is watching. Hello, Anne-Marie, darling. Right, let's have a look here what we've got. So Roberta and Leanne, just Jude, yes. Gary's joined. Hello, Gary, darling. And we've got my friend Richard who is watching, Kerry's watching, all sorts of people. Hi, how are you? And Ingrid is watching as well. Judith, I don't know where you've gone. You might have to request again, darling, because I did say, yes, I would let you come into the video, but you seem to have disappeared. What can we talk about? What else can I talk about while waiting for Judith? Oh, let's talk about our lovely new quilter who's joining us. So if you've seen the Monkey Minutes post today, you will have seen me talking about a full English. Tell you what, though, I've had that full English. Not that full English. I've had a breakfast. I'm full. A full English is actually our lovely Chris English, and he's just a lovely man. He's so down to earth. He's from Huddersfield in West Yorkshire, and I'm from West Yorkshire, so you know he's got to be good. It's a good place to be from. And he basically, yes, I'll just view you again. Yes, go live. He is joining the team, and he's got a fantastic course for you on June the 4th, and it is available to book on the website today. If you're in our newsletter scheme, you will have, hi Judith, you will have got the newsletter today talking about his class, and quite a few people have booked onto that class today. So do have a look at Chris English's class, because he does amazing crumbs, and he uses recycled fabrics, and he is fantastic. But now Judith is here. Hey Judith.
Sorry. Yeah, it just, when you accepted me, it just threw me completely out, so I had to go back in again and request again, and yeah, just took a bit of time to get here. Sorry.
How very rude of Instagram to throw you out. Anyway, how are you, my lovely?
I'm very well.
How's your day been? I know you've been filming for us today, which I was just talking about, which is a bit exciting.
Yeah, I've been trying to film most of this week actually, so it's slow going, but it's going well. And the sun has been shining all week, so that has been wonderful.
Yes, it has been lovely. It's lovely now. It was raining this morning actually here, but it has just come out. And I was just saying, Judith, that I finally got out today. I've just been out with Maddie, and we went for a cooked breakfast and a lovely coffee. And we sat outside in the sun, outside a cafe. Yay! It felt so nice. I think the waiter thought I was mad, because I said to him, can I just tell you, I've been fantasizing about this for so long, about sitting here drinking out of a ceramic cup. And he was like, okay. And I said, do you want me to put it on social media for you? I said, no, don't worry.
Yeah, the phrase "we don't get out much" really does matter now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. It really does. But what was nice was then that we just went for a lovely walk by the river, and we just hung out. We didn't do any clothes shop or anything like that. I've got no real desire, I have to say, to go into the shops. So we just went for a lovely walk, and it was a really, really nice day. So yeah, good day today. Good day.
Yeah.
So yeah, going back to your filming, Judith, I mean, yeah, it's going to take you quite some time, isn't it? Because I was just explaining the new club is going to be 2 hours of content from one tutor. So that is a lot. But
well, I think mine might be more than 2 hours. But well, the thing is with a mess, am I allowed to say what it is?
Yes.
Okay, it's a mixed textiles messenger bag. So there's a lot of elements, there's a lot of components. So I'm kind of just filming everything, and then I let you decide, you know, where we can sort of edit down a little bit. So, because otherwise it's going to be like War and Peace, and you're going to end up with a 10-hour instruction video, which wouldn't be good. But there's lots of components. There's making adjustable straps, how to repurpose, what are the best textiles to repurpose, bringing your bag together, putting in pockets. There's a buckle clip on the front of it, so how to insert a buckle clip, how to make a flap. So lots of, you know, different interfacings, lots and lots of things to learn.
Yeah.
Especially for people who maybe haven't worked much with mixed textiles before.
Yeah. Or
done much in the way of bag construction, because we're using lots of denim and wools and tweed, so they're thicker textiles. So it's people who have done a lot of patchwork and quilting, you know, are mostly working with cotton, so it's a very different experience. You have to set your machine up differently, you need different equipment, so we cover all of that.
Yeah, and that's the brilliant thing, Judith, isn't it? Because when we all got together and talked about the new club and what it was going to be, and you know, you were one of our later tutors, so you didn't get involved with Take Free particularly, but obviously when I said, right, a new club is launching, would you be interested, and you were like, yeah, that would be great. And so we all had that big meeting on Zoom, didn't we, and talked about what we wanted the club to be. And I think it was Gary that said, you know, the word is enhancement, and we all went, oh no, enrichment. And we all said, yes, that's what we want to do, because there are lots of clubs out there, and we did it ourselves, all about, you know, blocks of the month and how to develop the blocks and how to learn blocks and da. And that's brilliant, absolutely brilliant, and always useful. But we just said we really want to do something different. And I'd said that I'd seen a really interesting article in the Times a long time ago about a guy who set up a business where he sends out a box every month with a different craft in it. So you have a go at crochet, you have a go at knitting, which is something I might do down the road. But I said I quite like the idea of that. And then we all said, didn't we, well, why don't we all use our own skills and do one project and really put so much into it? I mean, like you say, about the 2 hours, yeah, I'm saying 2 hours of footage. It may well be 2 hours and 40. I mean, at the moment, take 3. Since Trudy has been involved with take 3, let me tell you, my editor is like, am I getting extra money for this? Because bless her, she never sends a 12-minute video. She sends 8 12-minute videos. I mean, she's just amazing. So there's so much content. So yeah, it may well be more than 2 hours, but I can't wait to see it, because I just think it's going to be so much to learn. And the wonderful thing, of course, Judith, is that people will be able to download it and keep it. So unlike the previous club that wasn't built on a downloadable platform, and some people are saying, oh, I haven't had time to, you know, to watch everything. You can now watch and download. So it's just great.
It's perfect, because when I've done pre-recorded classes before with my students, they just find they get so much more out of it, because they can pause and rewind. They can literally sew along with you. You know, they can go at their own pace. They're seeing it done in detail, which they love, because it's just that we're all visual learners, most of us creative types, you know, so we have to see it being done. It's so different than learning from a written pattern. So the feedback from, you know, any recorded classes that I have done has just been fantastic. So people are going to, the enrichment will be there, because you're seeing detail, you're seeing things fully explained. You can stop and go at your own pace. You know, you can go back over it again if you need to. It's a really great way to learn.
It is a great way to learn. And the thing about it being, there will be some people as well, because when we started Take 3, some people, well, quite a few people actually, I was amazed, just signed up to the annual membership because they just trusted us. And I'm hoping that that will happen again. But the difference here is that we're really kind of trying to, in a very nice, gentle way, push people a little bit, because what we're saying is, okay, you might be a quilter who wants to learn blocks and triangles and goodness knows what, and that's great, because we've got that for you in the club. But also, why not have a go at making a bag, a messenger bag? Why not have a go at looking at repurposing textiles? Why not work with Gary on a beautiful piece of clothing which he's going to create, or on a kind of seascape which he's going to create, you know? And Janet is going to be looking at colours and how to put things together and all that kind of thing. So I think it's going to be a really interesting club, and I'm hoping that people will go, yeah, I'm going to give all that a go, because I want to expand my horizons.
Yeah, and I think the variety, you know, across the tutors that CraftyMonkies have brought in, the variety is phenomenal. You know, we're all learning from each other as well, which is great. So what you're offering to people who just love sewing and crafting is fantastic. You know, they're getting real value for money there, because the feedback in my classes, people come to learn. They want to learn new things. They want to be stretched. They want to be challenged, but within a safe environment of learning.
Yes.
So, I mean, that's all available with CraftyMonkies, which is fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we like to do, is offer something for all abilities. So, you know, I mean, this lady emailed me the other day and said, she was too late for Svetlana's course. She said, can you put me on as a wait list? And she said, but I have to say, the reason I didn't book it is because I've been looking at your website for so long, and I'm a bit frightened. Is it all going to go too fast for me? And I said, look, we never leave anybody behind.
No.
You know, we always make sure that everybody's happy, don't we, Judith? And we always, you know, you yourself have gone back over things. People just go, Judith, I'm sorry, that strap you're making there, did you say it was a 1/4 inch, blah, 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 blah? And you always go, yeah, come on, let's go back over it again. And we put the close up on it and we do it. So, you know, people can sew at their own pace. And as you say, with the recorded facility anyway, on our classes as well, most classes are recorded. People can go back and relearn and redo, which I think people are actually really enjoying. So that's really good. And it is, as you say, Judith, what's lovely for me is working with all of you lovely tutors, because you are all so different and you all bring something different, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, my motto is keep learning. So it doesn't matter how experienced you are in your particular field or your particular speciality. the important thing is that there's always new stuff to learn, and that's the great thing with creative hobbies and this industry that we're in, you know, and we overlap, and you know, we encourage each other. So you know, the live Zoom classes that I've done, you know, they're very similar in many ways to my own classes, because people just are asking questions the whole way along.
Yeah.
You know, and you can do that. You can stop the tutor at any time and ask for questions, and you know, 9 times out of 10 your question is going to be what somebody else is thinking, but they're maybe just not wanting to ask, or you know, everybody will learn from the questions that get asked. So, and it's amazing how much more productive people are in 3 hours sitting in their own sewing room by themselves than 3 hours in an in-person classroom, because there's so much more distraction in an in-person classroom, and we've always got the kettle on, and there's always buns and food, and we're always having a natter to the person beside us and getting distracted. And you don't have that in the live Zoom classes, which means you are interacting in a sense, but it means you are getting a lot of sewing done. So, you know, you can get a project done in 3 hours, which is really great.
Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of fun. And as we were saying, you know, Chris English is our latest tutor on the 4th of June. He's coming along, but we've got 2 other new teachers as well coming up in the summer. They are both American ladies, and we're very excited about them as well. So that's going to be amazing. So yeah, we just continue to keep thriving really, and trying to come up with new things all the time that will interest people. Gary's what's been fantastic as well, Judith, is Gary's triple whammy, his creative sketchbook journey, which is not just about art and drawing and painting. It's more about textiles, color, and putting those things together, and an exploration of that. People have had a look on the website, and it's going really well. Lots of people signing up for it, and it was always a bit like, are our quilty ladies, are our sewers gonna do? And they've just gone, yeah, I'm gonna give this a go, and that is fantastic to see. I love it that people are just experimental. Give it a go.
You just have to throw these things out there and see what their response is, because you can't really predict it, you know, and it's great when you get that kind of response to something that you're not sure about.
Yeah, and I have to say, in terms of costs as well, £15 per workshop for Gary, because they are shorter classes, but £15, I think for our classes, you know, £30 as a value. And as I say, I've just been and had that cooked breakfast for 2 and 2 lattes, and I think it was £27 or something crazy. Gone. Now, lovely, but gone, you know, whereas in, you know, these classes, you can watch them again and again and again and again and again and again, and you can make all these wonderful things, and you're learning a skill. So I just think the value is very good as well. So that's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, talking about classes then, let's talk about your class that's coming up as for Judith. You've got a couple of classes. Both of yours are doing very well. Obviously, the first one we're going to talk about is busier because it's nearer, but the second one, people are now jumping on board. I think that was featured in our newsletter today, your pipe baskets class.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some bookings today for that, which is great. So let's talk about your one that's coming up next. I have got my calendar in front of me. For once.
Here it is. Weaving.
When is it? Yeah, it's the 30th of April.
30th.
Yeah, so it's not it's obviously not next week, it's the week after, so it's 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks on Friday, and it's going to be at 6 o'clock in the 6 o'clock our time, which Eastern time is about 1 o'clock if any Americans want to join in. 1 o'clock there. What are you going to be doing? Because, you know, when you came up with this idea, I thought that is so clever, so genius, but I wouldn't know where to start, and you're going to show us how to do it, aren't you?
Well, I can't take credit for inventing, you know, weaving. It's been around for probably centuries. And some genius came up with something called a triaxial weave. Most traditional weaving, I have a few examples here. You know, most of us are familiar with a basket weave, and it's, you know, we've got strips that go over and under, and we probably even did it in school, you know, with some fabric strips and a bit of cardboard or something.
Yeah.
So, you know, but you can get a really dramatic effect even with just verticals and horizontal weaving. Those are all linen trousers that I chopped up and different width strips. So we'll take a wee look at that, and another way of just vertical and horizontal overs and unders with the same width strips but a different order of overs and unders gives you a houndstooth effect. And these are much narrower strips, and this is just a little notebook cover. So even with your basic type of weave, you can get really dramatic effects. Then if you introduce a third angle, so instead of a vertical and a horizontal, you start off with a bow, and
Yeah.
then you bring in a 30-degree angle to the right and a 30-degree angle to the left, and you can get something called a triaxial weave, if you can see that.
Yes.
What we were doing is learning, I'll demonstrate the other two, but then I want us to get quickly into actually weaving our triaxial weave.
Yeah.
And this is one design that you can get from Triaxial Weave, which is tumbling blocks. And this is a little basket. I've just turned the panel. We'll be making a panel. And then the pattern for this little basket will be free to anybody doing the workshop. If they want to turn the panel into a basket, you could turn it into anything. You could cut your panel in half and make a front and a back to a beautiful handbag. You could make it into a gorgeous cushion, wall hanging. You can turn it into anything you like. I use a little basket and I keep my wool, my crochet in it. So that's what we're going to take most of the time learning how to triaxial weave. And one of the tools that you'll need for that, you can use a really, really big safety pin, the biggest one you can find, like a nappy size pin, or you can use a wefty needle. And I sell these in my shop. So Tara, a genius lady in America, invented this, which makes weaving so much easier. And there's two sizes of needles. So we'll be using the bigger one for our 2-inch wide strips. And you thread the fabric through there, and then you can weave and count and not get lost really easily with this. So I got another example of that same basket, just in different colors. So you really want to be thinking about 3 very contrasting fabrics so that you can easily get this sort of tumbling black block effect. So if you like, the easiest way would be to think of a light, a medium and a dark. So that's one of the easiest contrasts you can achieve. Another way you can do that is by the prints. So they may have the same, what we call color value. They may all be medium. But if you have a bright pink and a bright blue and a bright orange, for example, you're still going to get a very dramatic effect. So you have, the key word there is contrast.
Yes.
So that's just another example of the triaxial weave. And the other key thing that you will need is either a big piece of foam like this. This is Legacy Flex Foam, which I sell in my shop as well. And that's what we'll be weaving onto. So you can see on this side, I have it all marked out, and that's what we'll be doing as well. So you need something like that, or a foam board, which you can sometimes get in DIY stores or craft stores, and you need to be able to write on it. So that's our foundation. That's the crucial piece that we'll be weaving onto. It has to be really stable.
And so these things you just talked about there, Judith, the foam, I know you're talking about the actual tool itself. Those are available on your website, just in case anybody's watching now and thinking, I want to do this class, but where do I get this stuff from? So what's your website, Judith?
So it's www.justjude-designs.com.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's listed on our website as well, but just in case anybody is wanting. I think if you go to the course details on our website, you will see the link to your shop, I'm pretty sure, and or to you. On your Instagram, your link's there as well. And that's where you can buy these things, and they're not that expensive at all. But if you have got the foam and you are just thinking about the the tool, and you don't want to buy that, you could, as you say, just use a big safety pin. So that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, your strips start off at 2-inch wide, but then we're going to be putting them through a bias tool maker, which I don't have to hand. But if anybody's ever made bias binding, you just iron it through, and it halves the size of it. It pulls the raw edges in underneath, and it halves it, so it ends up being 1 inch. And that's what we've got at the top there. So it's kind of nice. It's a nice fit, but if you don't want to get that, that's okay. If you're just trying this maybe just as a one-off, your nappy pin, we just pin it onto the end of the 1-inch wide now strip and weave it in and on, in and out. Yeah,
brilliant. Yeah, well, I think it sounds like a lot of fun. I think it's a really effective pattern when it's finished as well. As you say, you can make it into all sorts of things. I mean, I'm thinking for gifts, fantastic as well. So a really, really nice Yeah, so that's in 2 weeks, and that's going to be at 6 o'clock on the 30th of April. You can book it on the website right now, CraftyMonkies.com. Just to say on that as well, Judith, for anybody who's just asking about the website and how it works, I've had a few emails from people. What's happened is, at the top of our website where you've got the grey boxes and it gives you all the details, when you click on a grey box, it instantly takes you down to that area of the website where it tells you about the class. And a few people have booked onto the Svetlana's thing, and they've gone onto the grey box at the top. When we've sold out, we take off the link, so that I think it takes you through to a booking area, and we take off the link because you can't. And then people have been emailing me going, I want to look at the bag, but where are the pictures? I'm like, on the website. No, you've taken it off. No, we haven't. So any course that we have is always on our website in full detail. All those lovely strips with the pictures, and then the little square boxes with the pictures and all the descriptions, always there on the website until a couple of days after the class has gone, because we want people to get their requirements list. We always email people a copy of the Zoom link and the requirements list a few days before the class, but the requirements list is always there on the website in full detail. Even if the class is sold out, you can still scroll down that main website page, that workshop page, and find all that information. And I think some people have got the email and then there's a link in the email. When they click it, of course the link doesn't work anymore because the class is sold out, so they think it's gone from the website. But we never take anything off the website, so all of Judith's full details, of course, are still there for her class, and they will be until a couple of days after the class. Lovely. So Judith, your next class after that is the piped baskets, isn't it? And
yes,
that is coming up on the 28th of May, and that's going to be at 6 until 9 p.m. Once again on Friday. Do you have an example of the basket? She does. Now, tell us what's so special about this class, Judith, because some people might look and go, oh, I know how to make those things. But actually, when I was reading the full description, there's a lot of stuff going on in here, isn't there?
Yeah. I mean, they're great for a start, they're great for using up any leftovers, any scraps. I love scrappy projects. They're also great for if you have a quilted panel, like this one here, started out as a quilted panel, and sometimes we maybe just fall out of love with it, or we cut it to the wrong size, or you know, it just doesn't end up being what it was originally intended for, or you've got some orphan blocks, whatever the reason, you can easily turn it into a basket. So the reason, so this particular course, the reason why we can work with any size panel is because I have a formula for calculating the base size. So you could come with you know, you want a long thin one, or a short fat one, or this size one. It doesn't matter, that everybody in the class can have a different size panel, because we're all going to learn the formula for working out the base for that particular panel. I've also got the other formula where you can start with a base and then work out what size panel you need. So I'll have both of those available for people, and they'll get a printout on that, so that for future, if they're doing this at home by themselves, they'll know exactly what size to make.
Yeah.
So that's one key feature of this, is bespoke baskets. We're also going to learn how to make our own piping casing. So continuous bias binding, we're going to learn how to make that. I've got another formula for that, so you will need your calculator for that class. But it's really nice sometimes, you know, especially at the minute where we can't get into shops, so you're looking at colors online, you can't quite get the match, or you can't quite get a coordinated color of bias binding that you want for the rest of your basket. So if you have fabric already that matches, then why not turn it? And you need a lot less. It's a very easy way. We start off with a square, so we're not cutting lots of stuff on the bias and all that tricky stuff. We just start off with a square, and you probably only need about an 8 or a 10-inch size square to pipe all three of these. So a little goes a long way. So we'll be learning how to do that. And then inside, of course, here is piping cord. So I'm going to be teaching you how to attach the piping cord, because that is what gives your basket that lovely little bit of shape and structure and definition. So it just sits nice and tidy like that.
Lovely. Yeah, brilliant. Well, a lot of people, yeah. Yeah, quite a few people have booked for that one already, Judith. I mean, it looks lovely on the website. It looks absolutely lovely, all the baskets. And when I was editing the video and I was looking at the flowers in the vase with the basket covering it and things like that, I thought, oh, that's so nice. You know, there's some really lovely ideas there. So once
I
again,
like things that have a multitude of uses. You
yes,
know, I like
yeah,
if you go to the effort and the work of making something, you know, one day I might have my cotton wool balls in it, and then another day I have my thread in it, and then, you know, or I make them as gifts for people and pack them full of goodies and treats, and then they maybe have a little planter or something, you know. I like these for putting artificial plants in from IKEA. They're a great size. So I kind of love the versatility of them.
yeah. That's why I like my husband so much, Judith, because he has a multitude of uses, and I have made him well.
I think you've got a rare one there then.
I think I have got a rare one. I mean, he brings me snacks during the classes. You know, he does the ironing. I mean, he designs websites. I mean, you know, it's quite.
He's for keeps. He's for keeps.
He certainly is. Okay, so what else? Lovely. So those are the two classes, which is fantastic. And let's see if anybody's asking any questions, and then I'm going to ask you a couple of quilty questions. I know I'm going to try and think of something quilty. Well, I know what I'm going to ask you. Right, Elaine, let's just go back to who was watching. Susan, June, Janet, Leslie, Rita, Christine, Erica, Julie, Jojo, Erica, Ruthie. Everybody is watching, so hello to you. And let's just see if anybody is asking any questions. I think everybody's just joining. So they're all sitting there patiently. And Trudy says, welcome to a full English Grizzly Adams and quilting. You're right, Trudy. He is debating whether he's going to chop off that beard, which is about down to here. So he's never, I mean, if you look at his other pictures of his drawing, it's very clean shaven and everything. And then when I interviewed him, I was like, oh, wow, that is a beard and a half. But he's debating chopping it off. He can't decide yet. He's a lovely man. He's absolutely lovely. And he's also brilliant at what he does. I was talking to Nicholas Ball today. He is a big fan of him.
It's great to have another man in the industry too.
It is great, actually. Yeah, I mean, that's why, you know, we are trying to get, you know, more chaps, you know, to come along to teach, because it is lovely. And then also, you know, getting the fellas to come and to the classes as well, which is nice. So, yeah, it's good. And, yeah, it's going to be a good class, that one. It's a good class. And like I say, it's busy already, which is fantastic. As soon as someone joins you who's new, you never know what's going to happen. But straight away, people have been buying from him. So that's great. So, Judith, let me just ask you a couple of things. So just in terms of you and your work at the moment, I know you're working for us, but, you know, the sun is shining. Do you find that you start using different colour palettes as the year goes through? Because, for example, Janet Claire, whenever I think of Janet, I always think of her blues and browns, and that's her thing, and she sticks to that a lot. She probably might come back and say, no, I don't. I use a different colour occasionally, but that's how I see her. I'm just looking here, yeah, at what she gave me there. What about you, Judith? Do you tend to stick to the same range of colours, or do you get inspired by changing seasons? What inspires you with your colour palettes?
Oh gosh, I mean, that's a tricky one for me, because when I design for a term's worth of classes, you're designing it a term ahead, so you're out of season. So you're designing your summer work. It was the same with the magazines. You're designing, you know, 8, 9, 10 months ahead of when it's going to be published. So you're in the middle of winter and you're having to think of summer colors and summer quilts and summer fabrics. So it never really matched the season that I was in. And then once you're in that season, yes, you know, you can pull in from all the beautiful sunsets and all the gorgeous colors in the garden and that. But in terms of my work that would be published, you know, it wouldn't be published then. It wouldn't be relevant then. Yeah. You know, so it was always a wee bit out of season really for me. And the other textiles that I just love to work with, to me, they work all year round, like the denims and the repurposing. And yes, tweed is maybe more associated with winter cozy project. So I would have designed things around the winter time, you know, using wools and tweeds and denim. But you know, we wear denim all year round, so why not work with it all year round? Yeah. But I'm less inspired by colour in my surroundings than I am by pattern. You know, I would see patterns in flooring and architecture, you know, and that I would draw more from that in terms of design. Color for me is just there all year round, you know, and I need color there all year round. I need it in my home furnishings. I need it in my clothes. As you can tell, I'm wearing original 1960s crimpling. I love nasty nylon. What can I say? It's vintage fabric. I just another sucker for old things. But you know, there was color abounded in the 60s all year round, you know, and it was just a fabulous era. So not that I lived in it, I have to say I'm not that old, but so I'm a bit of I just like color all the time, but pattern would change for me a little bit.
Okay. Now, when you're designing as well, do you sit down with a sketchbook and draw something out, you know, in its kind of very basic, you know, like a quick sketch? Or do you go straight into, right, and I've worked it out in my head and now I'm going to do the pattern and I know what I'm doing? What's the process like for you?
Yeah, again, it differs. It depends on the idea. If it's a very organic idea, it has to start on paper. You know, it has to, I'm old school, and it has to start with a sketchbook and a piece and a pencil. And if it's something a little bit more geometric, I find I need to get onto the software. You know, I need the lines and the calculations done for me on the quilt software. So it does vary a lot, but sometimes I don't have a clue and I don't have an idea, and I'm sitting looking at fabric and playing with fabric, and what will start as an idea, I'll just start cutting and sewing and seeing where it goes. Ends up, the finished quilt or the finished project ends up not remotely resembling what I would have started with it. And for me, that's, you know, it's a much more play oriented journey. It's a very organic process, and that's where I would say more of my design work comes from. I just start somewhere,
yeah,
and with an idea, and start cutting and playing. I think, right, I'm going to move that there, I'm going to change that, I don't like that, I'm going to add that. And it's a very hard thing to teach as well, because people often ask me, show me how you work, and it's like, it's completely unstructured. You can't give it a name. It's a very organic flow, and it's wherever my head and the creative juices decide to take me. And again, you could start off with a color palette in mind for that idea, and you end up with something completely different.
yeah.
So it's a hard one for me to nail down. I'm, you know, some things I can be quite structured with, but most of it's very organic.
Do you find it more difficult, Judith, to design for someone else or for yourself? So in terms of, if you've got to come up with a pattern for you and your shop and you know, something like that, or someone approaches you and says, could you design me a bag or something? Do you find there is a difference in the design process in terms of one is harder than the other?
Oh yeah, massively. For me, massively. And it's harder designing for other people because they have an expectation of what they think in their head. Even magazine editors, you know, they would give you a mood board, or they would have an idea, a rough idea. So there's a boundary there somewhere,
Yeah.
you know, and it maybe had a theme, or it maybe had to include XYZ. So in a way, you're not restricted, but you're confined to try and include those elements. And for me, who wants to work more organically, there's maybe just, you know, I like no boundaries. I like there to be just a complete empty space in which to wander around and see what happens. And, you know, when I have my work sewing, and then I have my playtime sewing, and when I try and play, it's usually I'm making a gift for somebody, or, you know, special something for somebody. And that is a very different experience, because I literally just see where I go, and I usually end up producing my best work, and I put it up online, and then everybody wants a pattern for it. So then I have to then start and think, how did I make that? You know, you have to go back to the beginning and think, I didn't even take a note of the measurements. I have, you know, so it's a very completely different process. When you're making for somebody else, you have to think through every single little step, every single little stage. Is this meeting the criteria?
Yeah.
It's the same with commission work. I don't do commission work anymore. It's very, very tricky, because the person commissioning you has an idea, and you can't see into their head, and they maybe can't articulate what they want. So what I interpret that as could end up being quite different. So it is, your mind is in a very different space.
Oh, excuse me, I
Bless
sneezed.
you.
Oh, bit of dust.
That's all that sunshine outside air.
I know, exactly. Oh, bit of hay fever. Okay, that's interesting. Because I did wonder for a second you were going to say it's harder doing it for yourself. Because if somebody else gives you a brief, it's something, whereas for yourself, you've got to come up with the ideas. The other thing I was just going to add on to that as well, when you were just saying something, sneeze has put me off now. You were just saying there about designing for, oh yeah, I was going to say, what, in terms of when you've designed, all the years you've been designing, Judith, has there ever been a moment when you've designed something, and it's fine to say this, and you've just gone, oh, that's good, and you were really happy with it, you thought, yes, I have surpassed myself?
Yes, I have. And I would have to say that there are just as many times when I've said, you know, I really love that, as the ones that I've said, I really don't like that. You know, I would have to say there's probably an equal measure of both, because sometimes when I was designing for magazines and that, I would have to honestly say some of the work I didn't enjoy. I didn't like it myself. It wasn't maybe to my even own taste or style, but it was what they wanted. Whereas, you know, if I'm I appreciate that my taste will be different to somebody else's. So what I make and what I think is like, oh, I just love that. I love that. Somebody else could be looking at and thinking, I don't know what she's getting so excited about. But yes, I think you have to take pride in what you're making. I think I've had to learn how to enjoy and be proud of my own unique style, you know, and not always try to fit what is trendy or relevant or out there always. I mean, as a teacher of classes, you can't do everything that you want to do. You have to expose people to all the different techniques, whether the ones that you like doing or not. But that's part of being a good teacher, is to bring your students through learning loads and loads of stuff. But when I get on my own and it's playtime, and then those are the things that I make that are either for me or for people, you know, friends that are important to me, those are the ones that are like, I love that. You know, and it reflects, you know, as designers and makers, so much of ourselves goes into what we make, but more of me will go into the things that I make where there's no remit, and you know, it's very soulful. You could even say it's spiritual. You know, there's so much of our creativity and our joy and our passion is going into that, because of that textile or because of that item or because of the person that we're making it for. And that's why it's so special to do it.
Which is why your film for our club, which your film will be on screen in September, I think, isn't it?
July.
Are you July now?
Yeah, it was September, and then you very kindly bumped me up.
Yes. Yeah. Sorry, you've switched, haven't you? Yes, you're the first one. Yeah. Oh, you're launching it. Look at me, not even knowing what's going on.
I think it's Janet not launched.
Janet's launching. Claire is launching, then you're in July. That's right. I'm with it now. It's good, isn't it? Good that I'm with it. So Janet's first, and then you're second. Which is why your video will be so great, because we just gave you carte blanche. We said do what you want. So you've come up with something that you are passionate about and that you want to do, which is great. So that's why it will be a really lovely project and be a really lovely film. In your wildest dreams, Judith, this is the final question and then I'll let you go. If there was any company or person or just anybody you could design for that was going to ring you tomorrow and go, Jude, we need you, who would it be?
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now, Rachel. I wish you told these questions beforehand.
I know. Then it was really Gary was very funny on his filming. Because he was trying to think, and he went on. He kept the camera rolling, so I had about 10 minutes of him going, "Oh, hang on, let me just Google." And then he eventually came back with the health secretary because he thought that she deserved a bit of a makeover.
Oh. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head, but if it was somebody that was as passionate about repurposing as me, so if there's any celebrities or well-known people out there, who are, you know, doing their bit for inspiring people, inspiring, you know, a lot of good things in the world, and they would probably appreciate, you know, something recycled and repurposed, then probably somebody like that.
Yes. We'll have to try and think of who that would be. I'm sure there's lots of people, lots of people. Kerry has just said they made me panic. I think it's because I said that you were launching the club session. What? And Trudy has said, Judith is so amazing at making special gifts for special friends and capturing them in her own style. You set my heart. And I have to say, I put a little, we're going to be doing a lot more on YouTube over the summer, because we know that the classes are going to go quieter in the summer. And so myself and Kerry there, we're going to be working a lot on our YouTube content, and hopefully giving you some more free content on YouTube for you to watch, and to really try and build that audience. And so what I've done is I've built a little sort of thing behind me here, not built, but just put up some goodies on there, so that it's a bit of a backdrop. You can't see it now because I'm too low. I'll be standing in front of it. I think it's on the Monkey Minutes today. And I did have some things already, but I said to my tutors, look, if you guys want to send me anything, I can sort of rotate it around and we can get little bits of you in the background and all that. And I have to say, you and Trudy were fantastic. Straight away, bang, 2 Amazon packages, not Amazon, but kind of like Amazon style, you know, within 24 hours, there was a big envelope there with lots of goodies. So thank you very much, Judith. I'm looking there. Did you send me him?
No.
Was that Trudy? I think that was Trudy. I absolutely love him. He's a little tape measure. So he's
gorgeous.
Yeah, but there's all sorts of things in there from you, my lovely. So thank you very much for that. So perfect. Okay. Well, you know, I've really enjoyed this chat. It's been interesting hearing about your sort of designing process, because I think people do always look at people like you and think, how do you do it? How do you come up with ideas? And you know, where do they come from and what inspires you, etc. So it's always interesting to know. And you are a really great teacher, Judith. If anybody wants to watch any of Judith's classes that you may have missed, if you go to our online shop on our website, CraftyMonkies.com, Judith has got the zippy denim pouch up there. Well, all your classes so far have been up there because you've recorded them all, haven't you? So do have a look at our online classes and you'll see Judith's classes. And she is such a great teacher, very methodical, doesn't leave anybody behind, goes back over and over and over things again. Yeah, do have a look at those, and do check out the weaving class and the piped baskets. Weaving is first, and is it next Friday? I forget. Is it next Friday? Next Friday, isn't it? Or
30th.
30th, yeah, at 6 o'clock on the Friday night. Lovely. Yeah. What are your plans for tonight? Anything exciting?
We're having a board games night because my youngest goes back to uni on Sunday.
Right.
And my middle daughter, who's she's living nearby, so we're all getting together for tea and then having a board games night.
Lovely. What board game will you be playing this evening?
They've discovered a new one called Dixit.
It's called Fix-It.
No, with a D.
Oh, Dixit.
Which I haven't played before, but we're big Uno fans. You know, we're very serious Uno fans. So who knows?
Who knows?
Yeah.
Oh well, have a lovely time. If we do board games, we tend to do well, I would say Monopoly, but it goes on forever. So Cluedo's a bit of a favourite of Maddie's. She likes the old Cluedo. It's very funny though when we're doing it. And Jake and I would do this weird thing when we'll pick up a prop and then we'll do a little scene from a film and I go, which film is it? And he instantly knows which film it is. Because we had The Shining and I picked up the dagger and all that. No, it was the axe, I think it was. But yeah, we do all sorts of silly things, and Maddie's like, I don't understand these conversations because I wasn't born 40 years ago, whatever. Anyway, well, you enjoy your board games. Looking forward to seeing you in class, Judith, in a couple of weeks. Just to let everybody know as well that next Friday Live will actually be next Thursday, because next Friday I have a class at this time. So next Friday is Ingrid's class. I'm sure I'm right in saying that. Let me just check. You know me, I always give out the wrong information. Yes, Ingrid's class is next Friday. She is creating an elephant, a fantastic elephant. It's at 4 o'clock UK time, which is 11 o'clock Eastern. And we did it a little bit earlier on the Friday because there's a lot of German fans, and in Germany it would be too late if we did it at 6 for them, because I think it's like 7 or 8 for them at night. So we've gone for 4 o'clock on Friday afternoon. Still places available on that class. So we can't do our Friday live. So we're going to do the live on Thursday at 5 next week. You'll still get a notification if you are subscribed. But Thursday at 5, and that is going to be with Lucy Engels, because she is launching a brand new pattern It's a bit of a kind of sew along thing because we're doing a class with that pattern a couple of weeks later. So she's going to be talking about that next Thursday. But I'd like to say thank you to everybody watching on Facebook. I'll say goodbye to Facebook first of all. So thank you, Facebook. It's been an absolute joy. I love you all coming here on a Friday night to say hello. And as you know, I do really... I am really grateful to every single one of you when you come on the classes, when you join in, when you make comments, when you like a post, when you're just watching what we do. And hopefully we'll get to see every single one of you at some point. And I have been looking at organising a big event in person this week. I was going to do it at the end of this year, but I think I'm going to do it for spring next year. So March next year, I'm hoping there will be a big Crafty Monkey event. So hold hats for that. Right, I'm going to finish Facebook. So goodbye, Facebook. Thank you so much to everybody watching. Have a lovely, lovely weekend, people. Okay, that's Facebook gone. And thank you to you, Judith, for tonight. Really appreciated it. Looking forward to seeing you in class. And thank you to Instagram. I shall now end Instagram. Have a lovely time, Judith, playing board games. And a lovely weekend, everybody else. Ta-ra!